live.
Howdy, everybody. Jim, get your directions straight. Jim that has his directions so screwed up he was late to the stream.
I was not late. I'm here.
Anthony has the hard one. So we have a special guest tonight, Anthony, N8VOX. Anthony was helping me out with some audio interface issues, and I said, why don't you stay? And Jim's like, please stay. You know? And if you know how
cool, and he's of a certain age. We're probably in the same age range within a few years, so I like having another senior in here with me.
Class of 1987.
If you know how...
Shit. Oh.
If you know how Ham Nuggets works, if we have a guest on the show that is different than Jim and myself, we might go into overtime. I don't see any reason why we would go into overtime on this stream, but it's possible. Just warning you guys ahead of time. This is the stream where we have really very little idea what we're doing. We have a body of ham knowledge here on screen. We have a body of ham knowledge in the chat, all you folks, all you wonderful, amazing folks at home. But we're working on something that we don't know anything about on purpose together to share that experience and grow together as a family. And you all are wonderful. Thank you.
I have two things to share. Yes, we have a body. Just saying. Am I too sexy? I know.
We're 4.5 men here.
At least.
Oh, that was harsh.
And Anthony, class of 1980, you youngin'.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Oh, geez. Oldest man on stream again.
Well, unless Chuck is here, yes, I am.
Nice.
It's all right.
I think I'm the oldest ham tuber that's, well, no, I think...
Kassler got you beat.
Well, Kassler's got me beat, but Kassler's...
Oh, Dave's here. The random
Kassler
wire.
graduated when Marconi was in high school, so...
Brutal.
So,
the oldest, best-looking ham tuber.
If you guys haven't run into Anthony before, he is the Everyday Ham on YouTube. He's just getting started out on YouTube. If you go over to his channel and give him a subscribe, that would be awesome. He actually makes some really high-quality videos, and he's been in the audio industry since ever.
1983. That was 3 years after Jim got out of high school.
Yes.
I was in the military then. I was probably protecting you punk kids.
Probably.
Right. What branch of the service were you in, Jim?
I was in the Air Force.
I'll just let these jokes write themselves.
What's wrong with being in the Air Force?
I don't even have to. I'm not saying a word.
Something
I just
has
know
to
where
make
the
them
audience will
airplanes
go.
Fly. They don't fly on good looks and pilot charm because those two things don't really happen.
You being the best-looking pilot I've seen in the Air Force. Not that I've seen a lot of Air Force pilots.
I was not a pilot in the Air Force. I was not a pilot in the Air Force.
Although there was this one girl I knew that used to fly the boom on the refueling tanker.
Oh, see, that would have been a cool job. And I kind of tried to get that or the tail gunner on a B-52.
Oh, nice. That would be nice, too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's...
Thank you for your service, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
And
yes,
Thank you,
whoever
Kurt.
just said that in the chat, damn it, I can't get the sides right. Yes, sporting the Illini shirt. Excellent.
So we
win
have...
over Purdue.
Right before the stream, we have a new member, Dan in SD. I guess that's South Dakota. I hope that's South Dakota. Otherwise, I'm embarrassed. Has become a new member on the channel. And we got like this 2-day special on. If you become a member between today and Wednesday afternoon, the special is you get into this month's members only meeting that we have. It's where we just hang out kind of behind the scenes off YouTube and either answer questions or in this case, we're going to tell a couple of stories about an accident and share some dash cam footage from Mr. Jim over there. And we'll get to decide about his driving talents.
Are we dancing for this? Do we dance? Are we dancing on Nuggets?
Yes. We
now
dance
is the time on Nuggets when we dance.
When we dance. And did you turn loop off?
This is mine, not the streams.
Okay. So this will not loop on its own.
No.
Excellent. So let's get this.
Some milk.
Put that
I
there.
need some milk.
Put that there, and then we put that there. Wow. StreamYard's kind of a pain when it comes to this stuff. So, when Jim and I were at Huntsville Hamfest, and Jim wasn't drooling over this one was all me, all by myself.
No.
It was $50. It was marked down to $25. It says it's a working 2-meter with manual. And I think when they said with manual, they meant like the hand crank to get this baby rolling. Because look at this thing. Where's my... There it is.
Before
It's
you
over
get
there.
rolling, Andy Cowley, member for 26 months.
Ooh, awesome. So you're
How
watching
did
the
you
comments
put
on
that in
YouTube.
chat? I can't put that in the...
That's the member milestone chat. If you are a member of the channel, every month you get a free super chat. It looks exactly like a super chat, but it's a member milestone chat, and it gets to brag about how long you've been a member, which is fantastic. And it goes to the YouTube chat, but not to the StreamYard chat. So I don't actually get to see it unless I have this the YouTube chat open also, which I got a lot of stuff going on with multiple cameras and this microphone in the way, and all, so I don't have that. Does that radio have a stamped date on it? Let's see.
That's a good question.
There is serial number on the back.
Wow, that rascal's old too.
It's seen some love too, and this was not made as a mobile radio. This was a 2-meter radio for the shack because there's no mounting brackets on it. FCC compliance stickers, which it probably isn't in compliance anymore.
MRD wants to know, does that do DPRS? Because that will make Don mad.
No. It's got a bottom firing speaker. And check out this power cord. This is the power cord that it comes with. And what's really funny is Icom must have got a super steal of a deal on these cords. They stopped using them for power cords, and now it's the tuner connector on the back of your modern Icom rig. So they're still using these. Let's put that back in.
So what did Manuel say when you got that radio? Because it says it comes with Manuel.
Where did I put it?
Well, no, it literally says Manuel.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and with the feet on the bottom, definitely sat in a shack somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. So this was the manual. It's a little wet. Is that? And what I found interesting about this radio, I mean, besides the price tag, what I found interesting about this radio was how do you tune it to 146.52? Like, just look at it. Is that thing crystal control or diode matrix? I don't know. We will find out. But this dial here, when you turn it, there's 601, 607, 613. So I'm guessing that's like 144.637 as a guess.
So that would be a lot of crystals in there.
Well, we'll find out, because the first thing we got to do is take it apart.
Sweet.
Because we don't turn things on first. But there's 3 screws holding, I think they're fake, holding this dial on, and then there's this. I have no idea what that does. And we're going to have fun with focus. Let me see if I can do
Son,
anything
put the
about
electrics
focus.
to it and let's find out if smoke comes out.
Nah, you don't do that first. What can I do about focus? All right, that's manual focus. So if I move it around, okay, that's a little bit better.
So you
What
think
was
that was
that,
140, 144 dot whatever, or could that be 140?
Yeah.
I can't even see. It's not in photo. It could be 146.01. I don't know.
It could be 146.01.0000.
Steve, what's the model number on that thing?
It went up to
This is an
700.
IC-22S. IC-22S. Yes, 22 Sierra. Craig, thank you for joining. Does joining here get you in car also? So the member benefit deal is the 4 of us, Chuck and Jim and Ape and myself, all kind of went in on this because, we don't know how to have a presence with, like, you guys overwhelm us sometimes. So we were scared and we all joined in together. So if you join on any one of the 5 channels, then you get into that members meeting. Was running when I parked it. Exactly. So let's find.
I pulled up the rig picks page for this transceiver there.
Yeah.
If you want to pop it up? You want me to pop it up?
Go for it.
So there she is. Let me embiggen this a little bit.
146.01 little switch gives you 015 or 010. Could be. Ron's thinking over there.
Channelized in 15 click instrument increments. Diode programmable. So there's the answer. Someone was on, I think
Ron?
I think Dan in South Dakota said something about rig picks, which is what gave me the idea to look here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
wow.
And he must have been on there. It is diode programmable. That makes sense, because that would be a lot of crystals in that, and that's awful small for having that many darn crystals.
Well, so I was looking in the owner's manual, and that was one of the things that kind of scared me. There's the parts list, which has got a huge amount of parts, but it tells you every single capacitor value. Let me switch cameras back. Every single capacitor value So if you look on the board and you find C1 and it went bad, you'll be able to fix it because you know it's a 39 picofarad 50 volt capacitor. So that's pretty cool. Let's see,
Wow,
what do you got,
cool.
Jim? Oh my, I haven't opened it up yet, but now I'm scared.
I was going to say, son, there's a lot of opportunity to excel in there.
There is. Awesome.
Which, if you're in the military, that was code for you ain't going to like this.
Right. All right, so let's go back to, remove that one, go back to that view. All right, so this is the adder and diode chart. I have no idea. In simplex, the input code is the same as the output code. So, yeah, like this is ham stuff that we don't do anymore as hams. Diode insert positions. So if I wanted to get 146010, so simplex 146010, set the frequency to that. It looks like this thing. Nope, it does 147 also. PLL output frequency 135.310. The 1/m frequency in megahertz is 1.620, and the total N is 108. And then you put diodes in those positions.
That's awesome.
Does that mean something to you, Anthony?
No, I'd have to sit and figure it out. But it's the kind of thing that you're like, okay, well, once you get it, you're like, got it.
Well,
cool.
that's a programming matrix basically. You'd have to, and if you want to set that, you're going to have to go in and move things around to set what frequencies you're going to get.
Now, another question I have, this is the diode insert position, and on the back of the radio, there is that thing, which looks to me to be a tube socket.
That's exactly what that looks like.
So that would be interesting, having a tube sticking out of the back of the radio. Does it say what that is? It says ACC, so maybe that's just a plain old accessory connector, and we're getting excited thinking it's a tube socket. There's a speaker connector there too. Yeah, this is
Good
not the least
find.
bit intimidating, right?
This is a great find, man. This is the kind
Jody
of stuff
said that's
that-
an old style accessory plug.
Yeah. And Ted agrees. So let's see if we can figure out where those diodes are. I've got my screwdriver.
While you're doing that, should we run a commercial?
Sure.
I
Keep the lights on.
Yeah, we got to keep the lights
Wait a minute,
on.
do you need a voiceover for this? Or
Well,
Oh, play it on mute. Let Anthony have his way with it.
oh, I totally will.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. Come on, here we go. You ready? Now he's
Which
laughing.
one
He
is it?
can't do it. He's going to blow
Wait
a
a minute.
snot bubble or something next. All right, you ready? I'm going to
no,
mute
dude,
this.
You did a fine job. You know I'm messing with you. Play it.
Hi, I'm Chuck with Coffee and Ham Radios, and we'd just like to show you our two antenna kits that we have. We have the Apollo and we have the Mercury. And this is the way it'll come to you. If you buy 1 to 2 at a time, we can actually get 2 in a box so you have a friend, or you want 1 of each, you can save on shipping. Okay, this is the Mercury antenna kit. Now, it comes with the parts list, and on that parts list, there's a way to get into the instructions. In the instructions, it'll to give you measurements for 4 bands. That'll get you pretty close. Leave it a little bit long. There's plenty of wire, and that way you can adjust it to the part of the band that you want. And here's all the parts for it. We have a high quality toroid, magnet wire, all the parts you need to build this. Both of our kits come with high quality silicone wire. This is the most pliable wire that we could find. I actually like winding it straight like this. You can do a figure 8 if you want to, but this looks a little bit neater, I think. Now this is the Apollo kit. Same thing, you get a parts list with a way to get to the instructions on how to build it. You get your Coffee and Ham radio sticker just like in the other package. All your parts. Again, we have used a good toroid that we buy from a reputable dealer. And again, you get your winder, your wire, and you also get your Velcro strap. This all comes together. It makes it easier for me. I have 3 parts all ready to go here. Okay, let me show you something now. Now people ask me all the time, what's different about your antenna? And really a link dipole and an infed half wave, they're all pretty much the same. What makes ours different is the high quality winder. The winder is made with multi-jet fusion out of PA12 nylon, which makes it very strong and durable. I would say this is probably the best winder on the market. At least we think so. We've designed it so that on an infed half wave, everything is a straight line from your antenna wire out to your coax. So it makes it easy to put it up in the field. And we use the same winder for both. So that's just a quick look at what we offer and how it comes to you. So if you want one, you can always go to coffeeandhamradios.com and order yours.
And or
Careful.
Cleveland Institute of Electronics. What was the one that? Oh man, we had a correspondence school like that. I forget what it was.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. They used to
Right,
do
here in
ads all the
Michigan.
time.
Yeah, DeVry. Yep, that was one of them.
That's it. DeVry Institute of Electronics.
Okay, so you guys are lucky that you're not here because I opened this thing up and the smell just wafted right up my nostrils, right in my nose holes. It was interesting. So we saw this picture on the RigPix site, and there's not a lot going on here. I'm assuming that these cans make up some type of crystal filter, but that's just an assumption because there's 0 markings on them. Perhaps if we had a schematic. I think we do.
I hit Vern on 20-meter FT8 today. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, those are just block diagrams.
Vern, I was supposedly otherwise occupied with my profession while I was FT8ing,
Crystal,
theoretically.
diode
FT8ing.
IC, inductors.
I'm getting over a cold, man. And in case you don't know, in Alabama, in the southeast, in the springtime, we have the yellow scourge that takes over the state.
Not fun.
Google pine tree pollen falling over or something on YouTube.
It
and
is,
you can
Dan.
see what it looks like. My truck is yellow and gray, whatever team that is. I don't even know. Yeah. I say pine pollen here is unholy.
So inside the owner's manual, they specified the brand names of the different capacitors that they use. So they really got highly selective. And there's just a ton of components in here. And I can point out a couple of them, but
So you have not powered this up at all since we got it.
no. I wanted to open it up and make sure there wasn't like a big black scorch mark somewhere.
Right.
I don't believe that there is, but you never want to just like take an old device and just totally turn it on unless
Well,
it was yours.
Let's talk about your capacitive devices in there.
So we've got a bunch of regular electrolytic capacitors in here, and then we have these orange guys, and these could be mica, these could be tantalum. It just depends on
Right.
what chemical makeup they want to use. These black ones here are transistors. There's a side-mounted IC here. I am not seeing anything that jumps out to me that looks like final transistors yet, but this is the top side of the board, and there's still one more layer to this. So you would think that a radio, and God bless Icom, bless their hearts, as Jim would say.
None of those are bulgy, is what I was asking, because there's a lot of
No,
electrolytics in there.
They don't even have the split. More modern capacitors have a 3-way split on top, and that'll
Pressure relief
bulge
valve.
up.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll bulge up if they go bad. And that was actually a case of industrial espionage in the early 2000s. Somebody stole the recipe for capacitors, but didn't steal the whole recipe. They got it wrong. And so in the early 2000s, if you guys are old enough to remember, computers went bad, like within the first 3 weeks of ownership, because the capacitors all bulged up and died. So they don't appear to be those kind of capacitors. I wouldn't just go like looking to have a capacitor replacement mission on this. I think these are pretty okay so far. They're not so old that they're made out of cardboard and paper and leaking. And they don't look like a greasy fast food bag.
That was the other question. They don't look slimy or greasy or anything.
Yeah. Now the smell I get just smells like electronics. It doesn't smell like, I mean, you'll get like kind of a rotting fish smell almost if they're bad. If they're like gone bad,
That's probably
But I
the
don't-
most accurate description I've ever heard of. I think the smell is
At least it's not Marlboro.
Like that right there.
it's
This
a pretty hideous smell.
this brown that you see is actually the circuit traces on the board. I'm not seeing any discoloration. I'm not seeing nothing is giving me cause for alarm to not turn this thing on. No scorch marks, no burnt out, no blown pieces. Like some of these capacitors, if they go bad, they'll literally catch on fire and you'll see like a black hole in it.
Fire.
Steve, you seem to have really great luck buying used gear, and it's really and I appreciated your video on how to buy used gear. Thought that was pretty cool. But have you ever gotten something like this and went, "Oh crap, yep, that was money flushed"? I mean, because like this you've obviously got a pretty good thing here going here.
Yeah, for $25, it didn't matter if it was bad, honestly. Yeah, and there's no road dust. Craig's saying this
Craig's
is
got
not
it,
a
yeah.
mobile radio. This is a desk radio. So I kind of size up the seller. I kind of look at how they take care of themselves and how they, I mean, you're talking about asking me for my personal judgment process here. So I'm giving you like judgments that I make on people on purpose here. And then it doesn't necessarily stop me from buying the thing. It just kind of puts it in a state of mind. I will buy things that are labeled as broken or 4 parts only. I bought a 6-pack of Commodore 64s and made 5 of them work, and then made a wonderful story out of ripping all the parts off of the 6th one. And it was a fun adventure. So I bought them for $160 total, I want to say, maybe 150, something like that. And then I turned around and sold each of them for about $100 repaired. So totally worth doing. The Elecraft, the K2 that's sitting back here, the guy represented himself well. He had them in nice cases. It looked like he took care of them. He pulled his CW key out that he was keeping, which showed that he's got some care for things, and he's not just trying to liquidate everything and get out. The microphone that I needed to buy to go with it, we went to the estate sale place, and they literally didn't know anything at all about anything that they had at the table. And I'm like, I need that microphone. And they're like, well, it's $15 for the whole deal. I'm like, I just need the microphone, not the whole deal. She's like, all right. She ripped it apart and gave me the microphone for $5. Done. You know?
Wow.
I don't know what that other piece was that it was plugged into, but it wasn't of any interest to me. And I wanted to make sure that somebody got their hands on it. So now we need to look at the bottom of this. And Ed is absolutely correct.
So if we pop back over to Rig Picks real quick while you're doing that, there is a close-up of what they have for the bottom, and that looks like that there,
Yep.
oops, is your diode matrix. Bless your heart.
Yes.
Heart.
And so that's where I was
Jeez.
going with this. Like, you got to remove 2 covers to get to the diode matrix to make changes, which seem like they're relatively frequent changes. I don't know, but my assumption is you're not going to do. And there's more diodes on that board than you'll see on this, which is actually interesting. So on mine, we get back to my picture here. Let's take that one out and then change that back. This is scotch taped over top, and it's a sticker, but it's a picture of the diode board, and then all of this text here that's really too small to read. There you go.
Can you
And
embiggen
it's
that?
sideways? I did. Look at that. I did the zoom.
Right.
Old school analog zoom.
That's right.
Enhance.
Oh, I feel like I'm on CSI, man.
Right.
Can you take this 320 by 240 picture and give me some high-res images out of it? Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Click, 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 mouse click.
And so there is the inside of the board. Let me see if I can do a zoom on that on the computer. Now we're going to do a digital enhance. Oh,
So
yeah.
picking your channels is a matter of moving those.
Yeah.
That's what it appears to be.
Wow. Yeah, you'd almost have to pick out your repeaters, simplex, whatever, and just run
well,
with it for a while.
so I'm looking at this, and I haven't read a manual because I'm a guy. But
Right.
so is that 1, 2, 3, 4, like 8 channels on that? Seven channels.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 holes for diodes, but it says. So it's binary: D1, D2, D4, D8, D16, D32, D64, D128.
Okay, so you've got 254 combinations.
Yeah. And then if you look at that picture that you had on Rig Picks, let me pull that back up. You've got a ton of diodes on that board, and this guy's got like 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
can
But, you know,
probably
7 compared to that number.
Make that bigger.
In biggin.
How's that?
Yeah.
So I was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Wow,
6,
that is
7,
super cool.
8. Yeah.
It almost looks like the board you have, Steve, is cleaner than the one in the Rig Picks.
Well, technically my camera is about 100 years newer than their camera.
There's that too, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this
good
is
question.
your...
How does CTCSS? Does it have a board for that?
I would say that it needs a board in order to do that, but I did not see anything in the manual about CTCSS tones. It's got an ALC circuit.
There's the channels down the side, do you reckon? 1 through 32.
Where are you
Or-
looking? These numbers
Down-
here? Yeah.
Yeah, down the left side of the board in this picture on my screen. That may not be a channel. That may just be part of that matrix. I don't understand all that matrix the way they've
So
got
Mike's,
it laid out.
Mike's asking if all the diodes are the same. Yes, all the diodes appear to be the same. They appear to be just, the switch matrix, like an old telephone matrix.
A Stroger step-by-step.
So what do we have?
SKT probably knows all about
Nice.
that, too.
So this gray wire here is actually coax, and it goes up to the microphone port on the front, and it goes to the accessory port on the back. The power wires go onto the board. So this guy right here, let's zoom in on that. This guy right here is your final transistor, and it looks like it's. I don't have my splaining glasses on. It looks like it's a Mitsubishi. Wire wound core memory under the diode board. We'll have to remove the diode board to take a look. We'll do that in a second. Yeah, it looks like a Mitsubishi logo. Jim, look up this part number. Charlie 2094 6Z Bravo hyphen Bravo.
Let me put Icom in front of that.
It's actually Mitsubishi.
Oh, Mitsubishi? Okay.
And where did I put my screwdriver? There it is. And the 6Z Bravo hyphen Bravo is on a different line, so that might be like a different part number. And we don't need to zoom in on my
Jeez. All I'm
model
getting are
hands.
Eureka, vacuum belts with those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, that part's so old, there's probably cars that it's in.
Yeah, so there is more useful stuff underneath. Let's see if we got some date codes on these chips.
Yeah, it's coming up as car parts.
$1969, is that right? That doesn't seem
Let's
right.
see if it shows anything on rig picks about it.
No. 68? It's possible.
I don't think this lists parts or anything. No, just specs.
It says manufactured 1970X to 1970X.
So it is, that radio is literally at least 43 years old. 53
It's
years old.
highly possible. Let me put this diode board back on.
53 plus years old. Sweet Christmas. That's a good catch, Anthony, because I did notice that.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't have realized it was quite that old.
So usually on microprocessors, on integrated circuits, there is a date code, and it's the 2-digit year followed by the 2-digit week of that year that it was made. So let's zoom in again.
It was 68.
Yeah. So I'm
I
going
mean,
to
it's
zoom in on.
possible that was made in the early 70s, using something that was.
Yeah, it said 77X, 197X through 197X. Those caps look awful damn good for being
69?
over 50 years old,
Yeah.
which I find kind of remarkable.
So it's hard to see, but that says 6914, 6916. So that could be the 16th week of 1969.
Well,
That was a 500% zoom. That's why I got all fuzzy.
I'm going to find that.
The other way to do it is the analog zoom.
I can make it really fuzzy, but then I can't see it. So I got,
There you go.
know.
W6916E on that chip.
Man, I wish we could find a date on that motherboard somewhere. That you're probably pretty close, but
It's the bottom side of the board. There's a lead that somebody taped off. I'm hoping that's not a factory thing.
For what it's worth, to be April 1969. I was born in August of 1969.
Well, we lost some resin.
rookie numbers. Those are rookie numbers, Anthony.
I'm looking
Well,
for
I like
that
to
date
say I
code
barely
now.
made an appearance in the 60s. when we supposedly landed on the moon. But yeah, that's another story.
Oh, I watched it on TV.
Right. So you know it's true. So this right here is the backside of the final transistor, which connects directly to this heatsink on the back.
I wish, LC.
That's right, Mike.
Yeah,
Summer 69.
I'm not seeing any indication of date on this thing.
Craig said the FCC database would have it. He guessed 40 years old. No, it's older than that. It's 50 plus, Craig. FCC. Geez, I don't even know what to look for. Rig database.
Well, you'd need to get the FCC ID of the IC-22S.
Well, I'm Googling.
Get myself all tangled up here.
Oh, they have a lot of databases.
And most of them are not very modernly coded. I won't say badly coded. I will just say they're not coded up to our modern coding styles.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way I'd be able to find that. See you, Ed. Ed's got a bail. Have a good evening, buddy.
I don't actually see
Don said
the
it's
FCC
older than
ID.
the FCC database. They may not have done that back then.
Well, that would be interesting. I'd have to see the manual that I have. Doesn't have anything for the accessory connector. I didn't see anything. Rush Electronics, 615-764-0831, Bristol, Tennessee.
Craig's asking if you can show the tag. You mean the service tag on the back end of it, Craig? Let me see if I can find it on that picture in the rig database.
That's what the tag looks like. And the only thing that mine has on it that's different is the accessory connector looks different, but the tag has an actual serial number stamped onto it.
Yeah, Don says, look up the year that they closed.
Right.
Fair. That's fair. I just think it's so cool that these radios are still out there. And here's the thing. You have one there on your bench right now. Somebody, somewhere, still has one in their shack that they're using today. Somebody has to.
This radio has been tampered with. Tampered.
That's a pretty strong accusation.
So this switch is aftermarket. And this dial is not matching up with the picture that they have.
Let's see.
Oh,
you're
right.
correct.
Well,
The front of yours looks completely different from this one.
And that accessory connector is different on mine. So this is a 22 channel only radio. Instantaneous deviation control.
Hold yours up, Steve. What
do you want
the
to see?
front of it.
oh yeah.
Well, I was trying to get it.
It's almost like that plate for the channel selector is turned upside down.
It's highly possible. I
Oh,
wonder if they put it
custom
on
labels
backwards.
inside.
Well, no. So if you take the plate and turn the plate 180 degrees, that number will be hidden, and whatever number is on the other side will be displayed. So I would need a frequency counter.
See how different that is from this one?
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
thing is backwards. Let's pull that front cover off of that.
Yeah, and then Sue, what is that little switch for? What is that toggle? That's a good question.
Well, I'm trying to think of what you might want to switch out inside. And I can't. I mean, you couldn't add any more channels without putting another matrix in there. I suppose if you're really clever, you could maybe put in a crystal for a specific frequency, but that radio is not designed to operate with crystals, and wiring that in would be a lot of work.
Yeah, JT, we were wondering about that. Like, was there even a board made for this for PL tones? I don't know.
I didn't see any place to plug one in.
Yeah.
Let me see. Does this thing say on RigPix? 23 channels, diode programmable. Sensitivity. It doesn't say anything about tones on this radio at all.
Big enough? Oh, geez.
Ervan
Just-
Jean says he cut an opening on the top front access dip switches for circumventing the diode matrix.
He said you do or he did?
It looked like he actually had this radio.
Oh, cool.
Okay, eHam has a fair amount of information, including my 20-minute APRS mod.
That's where I was thinking with that accessory connector on the back, you could do APRS.
This article was posted in 08. RF section's quite reliable. Most of these issues had issues with solder joints on the synth board.
Oh, look at that incandescent light bulb holder.
Oh,
Isn't that precious?
there you go.
So
That's what that
that
switch
is
is for.
probably what the addition is. It's probably the on-off switch for the light.
Oh, I bet you're right.
So there is purple and red.
Yeah, he's got a complete mod to put APRS, how to rig APRS into this.
So APRS is a digital thing, but it uses analog sounds to make digital traffic, which, I mean, everything is technically analog when you get down far enough. That switch goes to the diode board, is that right?
There are no PL tones on that.
Yeah. That switch
Really?
on the front is this wire right here on the diode board and this wire right here. So he's switching another channel in or another set of channels. It's not the light switch. That light is just missing.
Interesting.
And then this was put back on improperly on purpose. And I wonder if he even knew that he did it.
15 kilohertz steps on the diode matrix. So if you're somewhere that's 20 kilohertz steps, you're going to have an awkward time.
Right.
No allowance for
channel.
coverage below 146.
Right. I saw that. It goes from 146 to 147, which means you have to change something in the PLL circuitry to get 144 390 for APRS.
I guess you'd have to change the IF out. I don't know.
How did he do it in the mod?
Well, let's find out. That's a good question. Let's see. Unsolder the coax from the points labeled out. You have to identify
Coax,
the 2
out.
picofarad capacitor C33, which connects the crystal oscillator to L5. Change that out to a 22 picofarad. And you're going under L5.
Ted says just get the RT system software for it. You'll be set.
Right.
Exactly. Hook it up to Chirp.
I mean, this looks like you just find in these couple of spots and change it on a couple components. In about 20, let's see, so assemble it back together and you now have a crystal controlled radio which operates right on the common APRS frequency. So then it's
Craig
a matter
says-
of running the audio to something that can do something with it.
Craig says that's the mod. You're changing the tank circuit for the oscillator.
In about 20 minutes, I converted this clunker to useful APRS with no lock issues. I intend to run regulated 5-volt squelch audio mic and PTT into the aux connector on the rear panel to interface directly to a modded TripMate GPS. I built a tiny track board in the battery compartment of the GPS, and it's a complete APRS rig.
No OVF.
Nope.
Right.
You just don't know that it's OVFing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get the lid back on.
Joe
There's
Brett.
lots of adjustments to
K5
make inside of
YVY.
this.
Brian said, "Is that radio do D-Star?"
It does. You just have to squawk really loud.
So could we use this with the all-in-one card?
With an adapter to adapt the all-in-one cable to the...
Yeah, you'd have to make an adapter to
Non-K
go
connector?
from the accessory socket for the innie outie.
Well, no, it's a 4-pin mic connector on front. So, ground, audio in. Well, there's probably not audio out on this.
Probably
so,
TX
yeah.
plus TX minus grounded hot.
Yeah. So plus 5 volts ground and
Yeah.
then TX and then PTT. Is it gas?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's right. There'd be a PTT line.
So,
Or it
Steve,
could be
in
that
the
there's
state
just an
it's
extra
in
wire.
right now. How do you feel about applying power to this?
So there's one more thing that I will do to this before we apply power, and it was already mentioned in the chat. We got to get out the Kyrites meter. I want to make sure that the power cord isn't wired in backwards. So I'm going to try and match the black wire up to a ground. And then the other thing I need to do is go across the room and get my dummy load, because it could, I'm not saying it will, but there's an even chance, it's 50-50 until you throw the switch, at which point you start getting real odds, that it could just automatically go into transmit mode.
Right.
At an unknown power level. So I'm going to put this thing into...
God, that'd be
I saw
funny.
that in your video on that Kenwood.
Yeah.
That
I'm watching.
Kenwood
I really am watching.
is
the
right
video.
here,
And it's for sale.
and it is available for sale.
Okay, so let's make sure there's not a short in the power lead.
Tim Keller, so far, no magic smoke
no
has
shorts?
escaped.
That we know of. It could have been pre-smoked.
Pre-smoked, yes, that's right.
Okay, and then the next thing I want to do is I want to take the black wire and find a ground on the radio chassis. Yep. And then find the ground on the S0239. So that's connected, and then I want to do the same thing with the red wire, and it should not be connected. So now I have a reasonable belief that this doesn't pose any shorts inside. So I got to go get my dummy load.
It is not a CB. It is a professional amateur 2-meter rig. Kevin,
Somebody said something about 23 channels, though. You got to wonder.
it does. Yeah, it's only got 23 channels.
So I guess channel 0 is a thing, because the manual says 22 channels. It's supposed to max out at 2.5 amps.
Joe Brett, I'm
Okay.
not trying, because I know you want my 7610, and I'm waiting for you to get serious. Because she's sitting right here, right over there. Oh, damn it, over there. I'll get it in a minute.
Just point in the direction that it shouldn't be, and that will be the direction
Yes.
that it is.
That's
Right.
the one, yeah.
And then I have a power supply. This is the MFJ 25 amp Mighty Light switching power supply, the MFJ 4125. And on the front it has binding posts, and on the back it has whatever these are called. I don't know. So I'm going to make sure that it's off, and it is. And then I'm going to plug that in there.
Craig is playing along. He's got the service manual open.
Wow.
Oh, awesome. All right, so we are plugged into a dummy load.
OMG, anime. Hey, girl. How are you?
All right, so on the front of the radio, let's get this power supply out of the way. I have not turned power on yet, because here's something interesting. I don't see power knob. So
What?
put my splaining glasses back on. That's not uncommon.
Really?
Yeah, because most of the time you have it wired into your power supply.
To
So
the
this
ignition or something?
this is
Well,
squelch.
that's
Well, this
that's
is not a
hard
mobile
separate.
radio.
Yeah.
So that's squelch. We'll turn squelch down, and that's volume. And this is high, low, off. And then this is SPX, dupe A or dupe B. So simplex, dupe A or dupe B. So I'm guessing duplex A, duplex B, which is probably something you do on the diode board. And then that magical on-off switch. So all knobs down, volume down, squelch down, that down. That at some
Function
unknown
switch
frequency.
off is what Craig is saying.
Function switch. Where's the function switch?
That little toggle switch on it, is that what you mean? Or
Well, that's not an OEM switch, though.
right.
So
Are
focus.
those push buttons, Steve?
Those are switches. These are knobs.
Are
And
are
then-
those push knobs?
No
That'd
push.
be pretty advanced for 70s.
Okay, we're gonna turn her on. I see no lights. Did he get me? No RF out.
I need you to grab something metal that's earth grounded and then put your hand on the case and see if it's working.
All right, so power is on,
It's dead, Jim.
right?
Son of a gun. I never get to use that line.
Oh, I heard something.
Oh,
Can you hear it?
No, all I hear is you flipping the switch.
turn the volume up just a bit. See if there's maybe just.
Yeah, can we get any static? Squelch down, volume up. Yep. Have you got the squelch all the way up, Steve? I can't tell.
Squelch is all the way anti-clockwise,
Okay.
which I would assume is squelch off. And this,
I would as
I
well.
heard that.
all right, we got it.
Yeah. Oh, Tim's got a good point. Have you got something you can plug in line to see current draw on that thing, Steve?
Not with this setup. I'd have to. I'm not putting power poles on this thing.
Okay. All right.
Check that dodgy switch and see if the light comes on. Well, there's no light bulb on the light.
Playing cards with my brother's kids or something. You nerve-wracking sons of bitches.
There's no light behind this. The bulb is actually missing.
Right.
And then
Those
I don't know that there's a
LEDs
light
aren't-
behind the meter.
I don't think those are LEDs. I said LEDs. That was so cute.
These things here, they should be.
Are they lit up at all?
No. No.
'Cause I
let's,
can't tell from here.
Let's get it back up. So I would assume that when you hear that noise, that the green light should come on saying that it's receiving a signal.
Yeah.
But that's an assumption. Okay, let's plug the mic in.
Oh, son, have you got your Nano or your Tiny SA?
I do.
Chip chop, plug her in, and we can figure out what the hell she's broadcasting on, and we can see if we can make the sounds.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, I saw it.
5. So that's a dB reference on the top and a RF out 0 to 1 on the bottom.
It's a 1 watt and 10 watt radio, according to Rig
1
Picks.
watt. All right, let me get the tiny SA out.
Interesting. So you're not hearing any unsquelched noise because I'm not hearing it in the stream.
I don't really hear it. I might have heard something. I don't have cans on either. I've got monitors, so I do have some background sound here. I hear.
Can you hear that?
What did you just do?
You don't hear that.
I do hear that.
Okay, heard that.
Yeah.
That's squelch off.
Okay.
So it's working. All right, so I've got a couple of more dinguses we can try.
Tim Keller, right?
Jim
I
wants
mean-
to see the tiny SA. Tiny SA, and where's my antenna bag? It's gonna be the bag in the back. It is the bag in the back.
That's right, Joe Brett. And we don't cost nearly as much as Disney. I mean, let's be honest, we're cheap.
I am a princess, though.
His own mind.
Okay, so this needs to go on the low port.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
100
Ron's got an idea.
kilohertz to 350 megahertz.
Yeah,
What's that?
low port.
Change the frequency dial. Maybe there's no diodes in that position.
What are
Well,
we
that's
changing
why-
that for?
That's why I wanted to get him the tiny SA. Steve, just hook it direct to your RF tap on your dummy load. You don't need an antenna, son.
We'll get there.
Go to my happy place.
147, 840-ish? 147, 8 something.
And big fat harmonics.
Yeah?
Big,
see.
ugly harmonics.
That's hard to do.
Don't make me bring Smoking Ape in here. He
That's
might
not
be
the button I
Hallmark night.
pushed.
He might be busy.
Yeah.
That is 273. But it's still kind of there even without the radio transmitting. Let's turn it off.
And more useful than mouse swag.
Oh, yeah. I
wow.
turned the radio off and that one went away.
So
I can't watch the screen on the screen. Go away, lights. Okay. So that harmonic was showing up without pushing PTT. There it is.
something inside. Yeah.
That is with the radio just sitting there on, doing nothing.
Power off your radio.
Yeah, he did.
Right. And it goes away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
But it's also at what, minus 70 dB?
Well, that's because I'm using an antenna and a dummy load, not a direct
If o-
connection.
If only you had an RF tap.
I do, but yeah, like I said, one thing at a time. And the internal attenuator is not turned on. So you shouldn't, unless you know what the output power of this thing actually is, you shouldn't plug it directly into the RF tap. This says 10 watts. I agree that it should be safe, but I'm not going to risk that right off the bat. So
No guts, no glory. Well, your tap is going to drop your input signal minus 40 dB, and 10 dB or 10 watts is going to be like, I don't know how to do math. Let me go Google that real quickly.
It's really quite interesting to take a look at this with modern tools that didn't exist back when this was made, you know?
yeah. So
Yeah,
this
10
big
I
dial
was
on the
right,
front
10
isn't changing anything.
10 watts is 40 dB, Steve. So yes, you want to put an attenuator on there or run that at low power. That's right.
Right. And I don't know where the power setting is. I mean, there is a high-low. Let's turn it to high. Woo!
If only you had a digital power meter.
I do. We'll get there. You can't
I'm,
give away all the tricks all at once.
I'm just trying to be a helper bee, man.
You are. You're being fantastic, Jim. Jim, you're amazing.
Aw.
Jim, I appreciate you, Jim.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't shine it too hard. You'll rub the glow off.
All right. Now, I hit the squelch. Now we can get out the Shorecom. I need another
Don,
piece of
you're
cord.
right. I think he's going for the view hours tonight.
Well, no, I mean, like, Jim, would you take this thing and plug it directly into your scope? No questions asked. You just got this thing at a hamfest for $25. You're gonna plug it straight into your scope.
No, I'd plug it into a digital power meter so I could verify what output power settings were. Then I'd plug it into my scope through my
All right,
RF
so there's
tap.
the power meter.
Through
But
my
you
RF
asked,
tap.
You asked for the SA first.
Yeah, you know, he's got you there.
Well, I assumed he knew where the 1 and the 10 watt settings were too.
No, I
And then
literally
did
don't.
have to double check because I thought 10 watts was going to be 40 dB, and I would not plug 40 dB into that tap.
Farsomatic 3000.
It
Order
should be
yours
okay
today.
because the tap is minus 40 dB, so 40 dB out minus 40 dB leaves an input signal level of 0 dB, which should be bloody well fine. But it's kind of
When you were at Huntsville, you picked up a bunch of attenuators. And you just
yeah, one, and then I got a bunch of 50 ohm dummy loads too,
right.
or terminators
But just
actually.
Come right home, plug them into the back of your 7610, plug that into your scope, key down. It'll be fine.
No, I stuck them on the Rig Expert first.
All right, so this thing will also tell me the frequency that it's transmitting at.
Oh, see, that's sweet. Good point.
So what do we got? We got 1-to-1 SWR, which is good. It's on 146,791, which kind of agrees, and it's 56.56 watts, so half a watt. Put it into high, 6.74 watts.
So that would be fine on the
6.8
dummy
watts.
load. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be fine on your dummy load. Your SA can take a signal level of what, 10 dB? I think is his limit. Is it 10 on a tiny SA?
I want to say 10, but I would put, and the Tiny SA has a built-in attenuator, and then I have another attenuator, and then this is an attenuator with this tap.
Yeah, you'd be good on the tiny SA, even at full power.
821, 641. So I'm turning this knob, and the Surecom is registering the new frequency, 911, 146,911, 146,941, and it says 637 on the dial. 146,971. 146.
Scott, I did not bail. I let T.O. grab the opportunity.
He didn't want to steal my shine.
That's right.
146, 611.
That guy driving
Wow.
you around was okay, except for his coffee habit.
Yeah, right? Oh, wow. So that's 641, and then one click gets me 911.
Wow.
But it's just that one click. That's 701, and that's 431. What is this thing doing?
And none of
All right,
these
so-
correspond with the actual label on the dial.
No, but this dial was put in backwards. So if you remember from the picture, this window here that shows the frequency is actually supposed to be over
Supposed to be on the
here.
other side, yeah.
So this 607, whatever is 180 degrees out on the
Right.
dial,
Yep. It's actually
is 706.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
my
is
guy
that
reached
tracking
me
with what you're seeing on the Surecom?
No, not at all. Not a bit. So it says, all right, a key down 147, 661, and this says 706.
So whoever took that out and put it in, it's not 180 degrees. It's just all jacked up.
Yeah, they had a cheat
Now
sheet
we get a
somewhere.
2-meter radio.
Yeah. Why are you guys
You know,
hating?
the-
I didn't say
the
I'm
chat
not
is
wrong.
half
I
the
didn't
show
buy
here.
radios. I
It
didn't
really
want
is.
one. I let Sparky buy the KX2, K2.
Menu. All right, so now let's take this other one here. Menu. I got to
LC,
figure
you
out
shut
where.
up, you big dummy head.
Timeout timer, sleep mode, squelch level, BCLO, CTCSS tail, no. I'm looking for power settings because I haven't used this radio in a minute.
Oh, which one is that? Oh, that's the
This is the
GD88.
GD88. There it is. High power, and let's change that to low power because I'm right next to the radio, and I should be able to pick that up. And let's go back. And this thing here is telling me it's at 147, 691.
So, yeah, my next question is, are you going to be able to tune that to match?
Ooh.
Well, the ding-a-ling was in this radio.
At least one of them.
KM9G, testing. So
Did
let's
that go to
key down again.
691 or 690?
It went to 690. You are correct. 147691000. Oh, it won't let me do it.
Yeah, that's because the offset on that Icom is 15 kilohertz separation, and your radio is only doing 20 kilohertz separation.
147,421.
So you're only going to be able to tune the GD88 wherever the overlap is between those two separations, which would be on 60.
451. 481. Geez. 511. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this.
Can you?
Yep.
Oh, dude, can you change the channel spacing on the GD88? You might can on the BTEC.
Kilo Mike 9 Golf. So
Oh,
it's
look at
transmitting.
you.
Wow.
So KM9G. I'm frequency off. But I'm close enough that I can get it. Like, it's 147.510, and the radio is 147.511. Close enough.
Right. Or the harmonic is carrying it.
Kilo Mike 9 Golf. Kilo. Not receiving.
Don wants to know if it's AM or FM. I'm going to assume FM, right?
It's FM.
It's FM, yeah.
Yeah.
think
Okay,
that's-
so this, let's see what this switch down here does. That's kind of hard to see. That one, the one that's right next to the not VFO knob.
Mm-hmm.
So we are transmitting 147.751.
Is that maybe the light bulb that's out?
No, remember if we took it apart and looked, this goes to the diode board.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
147.736.
Ooh, did you see the power? The power jump?
147. So that's
Oh,
10
it sure
watts.
did. It's warming up now.
Yeah. Okay, so with the switch up, 147.736. With the switch down, 147.751. So I wonder if that's just swapping the output on duplex. Jimmy's thinking
Maybe.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this other one? That's on dupe B. Let's switch it to simplex. 147.151. So that changed the frequency. 147.136 with the switch switched. Dupe A. 147.136. 147.151. So it's swapping directions or something, and then that power went down 8.3 watts, 8.19 watts.
Yeah, you had 10.
Switch down 10
Yep.
watts. Go to simplex. Switch is in the middle, 8 watts, 147.151. 147.136. Yeah. It's a mystery. It's a mystery switch. And Dan in SD is correct. He says it's like a reverse on a new radio, and I agree. I think that's what it is. That's off.
Or
All right. So the power switch is in the off position, and that is off. This is not putting any power out. This is leftover display. This is new display. That's in the high setting. And this is new display in the low setting, 0.58 watts, 0.59 watts.
yeah, Stephen Wilson is saying dupe A is plus
Yeah.
600 and dupe B is minus 600
Yep.
That's about right.
to change your offset whichever way you're going. Would you reckon one of those switches is going to be like repeater output side? What do they call that? Work alone?
Talk around.
Talk around. That's what we call it in the fire
Yeah.
station. Talk around.
Or talking on the output of the repeater.
Yeah.
So if your
and
repeater,
that's what our talk around did. Yeah. Yeah.
one of the repeaters here is 140. We call it the 2585 repeater. It's the 146.25 is the minus 600 offset, and 146.85 is what you listen on. And so if I wanted to talk to somebody and bypass the repeater, I would tune my radio to 146.85 and leave that as my transmit frequency. So if I get the key down, I would transmit on 146.85, and you would hear me direct because you're listening on that frequency, but only if we were within range. All right. So the radio works. The question is, how do you know what frequency you're on? Number one, this dial here is 100% backwards.
Stephen Wilson, no, the radio does not do 145 anything. It's 146 to 147, 148.
147, I think you said.
Yeah.
Can I? I can't fix that. So the way that he's got this switch on, he actually had to, I can't show it to you. The way that he has this switch in, he actually had to drill the hole out, widen the hole. And Liberty's right, make a chart. Mm-hmm. And I'd have to sit there. And what you'd have to do is exactly what I'm doing. Have a frequency counter, have a dummy load. And this is old school ham radio stuff. Because modern radios, you just don't need to do this anymore. You would look at what's on the dial. You'd write it down, 742.
145 repeaters in the 70s.
Not legal, yeah. Cool.
I didn't know that. I don't know.
So this says 742 on the display. So I would write down 742 on my piece of paper, 742, and then I would key down, and it's 147.406. So 742 equals the frequency of 147.406. But there's only 23 channels on this, so you don't have to write down a lot of stuff. So Dave is talking about an add-on. Third-party add-on that replaced the 22-channel switch with the ability to switch from 146.01 to 147.99. Offset was fixed at plus or minus 600. So I wonder if that's what this mod was that was done here. And Dan, you are correct that the 7 would be 738, except that the dial is 180 degrees out on the display.
Craig has posted a bunch of stuff in the Nuggets channel on Discord about this demon radio.
Wait a minute, what?
Hold on a minute. If that was turned upside down, like that dial thing, wouldn't the numbers be upside down too then?
No, it's not the dial that's turned upside down. This faceplate here, this bezel, is 180 degrees out. So this hole should be over here, like Jim showed in the picture. And this number dial behind it.
Got it. Yep. Okay.
So when I'm turning the big knob, it's actually supposed to be showing... This is really awkward.
Yep.
It's actually supposed to be showing this hole here. And as I'm turning this...
For some reason, I thought that whole thing was moving.
You can't see it.
Yeah. I got you.
It looks like it would, but yeah. So, Randall, if you change a diode for a different channel, how do you update the dial?
If you change the diode for... I don't think you do. What does that... Where'd my manual go? Too much.
Well, I mean, those numbers are hard fixed. So those numbers are hard coded on that dial. And you've only got 146 and 147. And you have 3-digit numbers. So, and you supposedly have 23 channels. So one 23-channel board should be everything.
Anthony says it would be upside down. Yeah, the numbers would be upside down. You're right. So how did he fix that?
Yeah. Those have got to be custom little.
Or he turned
the
the internals over and left the stencils. Dan, that's right. All the spreadsheet and operation is in the Discord and Nuggets. Craig posted the whole operator manual.
Excellent. So this is what we're talking about here. Yep. This does not match the dial that I have.
It surely doesn't.
It also doesn't say 22 at all. So this manual doesn't go with this radio. There's another manual that's missing. Because this manual goes with a 22-channel radio, and that's channel number 22.
Well,
yeah.
So this has been upgraded.
Printing? The printing on the radio you have, those numbers, is. Can you tell if that's like some kind of custom job, or I mean, not handwritten or anything, but like, could it be?
Checking.
It's got to be, because this manual Craig posted the 22S manual, and I'm looking at it right now. And you're right, Steve. The numbers on that dial do not match at all what's in the picture in this book.
Okay. So let's get a number conveniently displayed, and let's do a little relief test.
Yeah, I wonder if he got some numbers or something.
Yeah, maybe that was something you could order.
He's a damn fine numberer. And it is just a hair askew.
Or is that just a line between them?
Oh, yeah. So Lon says maybe it came with different sets of number discs for the different frequency ranges.
Yeah.
Well, position the faceplate.
I don't know.
So this radio is having a personality problem.
What is the service?
Interesting.
Does the service plate say 22S on the back? I thought it did. That's how we decided what it was, right?
Yeah. 22S.
Yeah. 22S.
And it says 22S on the front as well.
Okay.
When you had that off, was that faceplate removable, Steve?
This piece here?
Yeah, I mean, would the numbers come out like you could put a different disc in there?
Look at that! Look at that! Where the switch is at? Hold up your radio, Steve. That switch is in a screw hole. He didn't drill that out. That is a screw hole.
No, he did drill it out. he embiggened the screw hole. So if you were to put a screw in that hole now, the head would go straight through. I'll show you again.
But it looks
I
like
want to take
that
this apart anyway.
Right, but it looks like that faceplate comes off.
Yeah.
Where the knob is,
Yeah, I
so
had
you
it
can
off
pull
earlier.
that knob off and pull off that faceplate and put in whatever numbers you want on the rotator. Twiddly dingus. You like that? Twiddly dingus?
Is the other side of the disc in that? Does it have?
That's what I'm
the
doing.
Channel numbers.
That's what I'm doing. I
bet it
you guys,
does.
I like your thinking.
We're here not just for good looks, buddy.
I watched a lot
That's
of
a good thing.
Scooby-Doo growing up, and so I'd like to think that helps.
Right.
Wait, that's Blue's Clues.
Oh my gosh, Blue's Clues, Barney. Jeez.
Never watched it.
Reliving your children's childhood.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, you didn't watch that. I hope not.
No, I remember our oldest. She first time she saw Barney in color, she was like, "Oh, he's purple."
I'm flipping through this book. I'm not reading all of it. I'm
Hey,
skimming.
you know he's right. Stephen Wilson's right. Blue's Clues host was named Steve as well.
So this is some more interesting trivia for you. The Blue's Clues host Steve got fired because he had a problem, and they replaced him with a guy named Joe, who was Steve's brother. I have a brother named Joe.
So why did you get fired? Is that what you're telling us?
Right. Okay, so the disc has been removed,
Yep. That comes off.
but there's nothing on the back of it.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah. Unscrew that. I bet that's a backlight thing.
Yeah.
Can you, pop that nut loose.
All right. Jim's asking me to pop a nut.
You said that, not me.
I repeated what you said.
I said pop that nut loose. You made it dirty.
I made it dirty. So I'm listening to this podcast, and it's a fantastic podcast. Anthony would be proud of this guy's voice work. He sounds amazing. But the name of the podcast is called Inside of You.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is it like Magic School Bus? I mean, as long as we're talking about kids shows.
Right, exactly. Let's keep it G. We put the O in OG.
Okay, so this is interesting. So there are 132 channels possible with that diode board, and you can pick 23 of them based on that 15 kilohertz spacing.
And you know what I just did, by the way? There ain't no key on this. I have no idea how to put this back in
That's
properly.
probably why it's wrong.
That, you know what? Yeah. I think you're right, Jim.
So what's that label on the inside of the ring?
It says VIP 42.
That's not very helpful.
I think that's a custom thing. I think that's aftermarket added. I really do.
Yeah, because the diode board changes which channels you can listen to. It changes what 22. It changes what's behind channel 22.
Look at that. Yeah, the numbers would be upside down there on the right if that whole thing was moved
Yeah, so
over.
if it showed 748 here, it would show
Yeah.
649 upside down on the other side. I mean, it would technically show the dash between them, but, for demonstration purposes. Why did they not key that? That's annoying. Could you imagine being the guy having to calibrate that?
Wow.
And this dial has kind of an indicator as to where you're pointing it to. Like somehow this this outside bar matters.
Huh. Wow.
Ooh, here's an article from Ham Radio Magazine, 1978, about modding that radio.
It wouldn't be ham radio if you didn't get to mod your radios.
$2 for this magazine.
That's expensive, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't have spent cash on it.
So Ron's saying you have to program the diodes to match the numbers. You have to program in the initial design of this radio, from what we can tell so far, we're just assuming because that's the kind of hams we are. Channel 22 lines up with row and column on diode board, and then you program in what frequency that's actually supposed to be. But that's a guess.
Well, you have 132 possible channels, out of which you can pick 23.
This feels like it's cross-threading, and I don't like that. Tonight's episode of Ham Nuggets, we destroy a classic ham radio.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's nice and smooth.
Yeah,
And
that's
so-
what I'm doing to get it back to something recognizable.
Nice.
Check that
That's a
out.
heat kit.
That will
Nice.
bring the babes to the
With the
yard
belt
right
holster.
there, buddy. In a holster.
Use chirp to reprogram your dial. Exactly.
So there's supposedly an article in here about that radio. That's why I popped that up, but I couldn't resist the ad.
Guy in my club actually a couple months ago bought a Heath HT, and it works.
That would be really bad. So FD32 Tube is saying he found a picture of an IC-22A that has the window where mine is on the left. That would be really bad if they put the wrong pictures inside of the owner's manual.
Yeah.
Well, or it's been Franken-parted.
Right. So let's show my screen real quick again. I can do that right away. This is what I was talking about, Jim. So you see the normal screw hole here,
Right. Yeah.
and then this is the one that he hogged out to get the switch
Yeah.
through.
Yeah,
Reamed.
definitely bored out.
Definitely. Man, I wish I still had my dad's old CBs. They were tubes. They were old.
That is a smooth round shaft. There's no indication as to where you would place that. Like there's no keying. So if you take this apart, you better make some marks so you can put it back together properly. Not taking that off again. So what I didn't find out was a way to get this thing to not switch frequencies when you key down, to not duplex. Because that would make it a little easier to program. That's the wrong screwdriver. Take this thing down to the local car parts store and get new lamps for the dials.
Dan and SD, I believe there is, but even with those on simplex, it was still transmitting and receiving on different frequencies, right, Steve?
There is an SPX. Yes, and it was. And we'll do that one more time anyway. There's a dupe A, a dupe B, and an SPX setting.
You know, for the time though, this really would have been all you needed, really. You know what I mean? I mean, just set that baby on the desk and, you know, get your repeaters.
Well,
in your
yeah, you're
area
going to
and-
program your local repeaters and maybe simplex, and you're golden.
Well, so were there PL tones back then? When were PL tones invented?
I don't know. I would guess after that time, since that guy doesn't do it. Let's find out.
PL tones came around like in the 80s or so, but
We are powered on. We'll do
Someone has Googled that today.
SPX.
They were introduced in the early 50s by Guess who introduced tones?
Motorola.
Correct.
Eddie Lamar.
Hedy Lamarr, right?
She was doing spread spectrum, which is a whole nother line of dirty jokes.
I know. I just had to throw it there.
The answer is always Hedy Lamarr. All right, so we are set to simplex. 146.551. Then we'll switch the switch. 146, 536.
I can't find a
551.
date in here, but I think Anthony's right. I think it was the 80s, probably.
146, 551.
Yes, the answer is always 42.
Right.
Oh, it receives. Can I get far enough away? Okay, so it's a very sensitive receiver.
I missed that answer, Jim. Who brought the PL tones to market?
Motorola.
Motorola. Okay.
And before PL tones, there was cell call. You know who used cell call?
No.
Anybody in the chat? What famous place used cell call for their tones?
Bell Labs.
Maybe, I don't know.
KM9G? Okay.
KMG 365.
And that is Emergency, right?
Right. Yeah.
TV show named Emergency.
LA
I actually
County,
never saw
LA
it.
County Fire used cell call. I think they still do, as a matter of fact. I'm not sure.
I wanted to
Okay,
be a
so-
paramedic because of that show.
It
So
sends
it's
and
great.
receives true when it's set to simplex, and then this switch up here does something else.
That show is closer to real life of paramedics in a fire department than anything you'll see on television today.
It's not Reno 911?
No. And you know, my wife, who was in the fire department and an EMT, watches that show. Makes me so sad.
Oh, dude. Oh, we had the toy. Got it for Christmas. We had like the little defibrillator and everything.
Toy defibrillator?
Yeah, it was like, what, 1975 or something? I don't know.
Yeah, Emergency was on 74 to 77,
Duplex A?
I think.
So is it doing duplex properly?
So I have dupe A set. 146, 551 when I key down.
No.
And then I do dupe A, and it's 147, 151.
Okay.
And the simplex frequency is 146, 551. So how does that math out?
Hello, and welcome to this presentation on
What was that?
Nothing?
Barney Miller.
I clicked where I ought not have clicked during a live stream. My bad, dog.
Tim says it's a Frankenstein of two radios, the 22A and the 24E, neither of which are the 22S, which is what's written on it.
Yeah. I was
Front
kind of
and
wondering
rear.
if it was a Franken radio. Yeah, I'm with Tim. Tim and I are on the same page on that one.
It has been user modified. But
Do
it
you
does
think-
work. It does the 2-meter thing.
Do you think the
Well-
guy you bought it from is the guy who owned it?
I don't think so. If I remember right, and I'm pretty sure I don't, I think that he went to his local ham club and they had a tailgate, and this was something that was just left over at the end of the day, and they put everything that was left over in a big box and they brought it to Huntsville Hamfest.
You paid 25 for that?
I paid 25 on
Did
sale
you
from
try
50.
to talk him down to 15 or
No.
something?
No, I'm not like that.
Just asking. Not
Oh, hey
judging.
Jim.
Hey. Oh, okay.
I think
There
that
we
was
go.
a
Fix that
worthy
for you.
exploration there, Steve. I really do.
Thanks for stopping by, Dan. Message me on Discord, please. I don't know when he said that. Oh yeah,
At
right now.
7:53 p.m., just about a minute ago.
Wow.
I bought a UV3R. Mike saying he bought a UV3R at the Greater Houston Hamfest this weekend for $5. Nice.
Sweet.
Well, this is legit 10 watts though, Mike. I'll sell this to you.
Mike, is that like the 50-watt UV3R? Is that how that works? Or the 80-watt model? I haven't gotten the 80-watt
More
Fang
P
yet.
were.
I'm afraid.
So I don't know. I think the future for this radio is a giveaway on a future stream.
I think more testing is required.
What more testing would you like to see, Jim?
I want extensive tiny SA testing.
Well, check your mailbox.
Are you gonna ship it to me? I'll do it.
I could.
I ain't
I
scared.
could.
I ain't scared.
It's not a question of being scared. We got time issues right now, and I'm now running on Windows, so I can run that fancy Smoke and Ape software. We can
Right.
do that.
Yes, you can. That's right. I forgot about that.
We might have something coming out in the future because I've got a couple of little things to test out. Another one of the dinguses I got was a signal injector made by Elecraft, and I don't know that I would trust this thing. Not saying that Elecraft is bad, but I believe it came as a kit, but I don't remember the provenance of it. So I'm going to go home. I'm going to build this signal injector kit. I'm going to take it with me in my pocket with a 9-volt battery. I'm going to walk up to you at your table at the Hamfest and say, hey, do you mind if I plug this thing into the antenna port of your radio and push the on button? And you're just going to let me do that.
No, I don't think so.
So I don't think that the idea was wrong. I think that the exchange between the two human beings is where it falls apart. Two strangers.
Well, now one thing, and this is like a pro tip, if you're looking to buy or remotely interested in buying a used radio at a Hamfest, having a tiny SA with an antenna in your pocket is not a bad plan, because if you can get power, you can key
And
up
a dummy load.
and buy. And I need to show them on my channel. Steve mentioned I bought some dummy loads and attenuators from some guy. But a bunch of them are just a terminator. It is a load with a connector on it. And I think the ones I got were N, but you could find...
A couple of watts or something, yeah.
Yeah. And so you could actually plug it in the back of a radio and key up, and you still should be able to see, which Steve did, see the RF coming out of the thing, so you'll know if it transmits and has any power at all. Even through a dummy load, you'll get something. So I don't know.
Lewis says this has been a great stream, very informative. Thank you, Lewis. I kind of didn't know where we were going with this. I knew that it was a radio, and I knew it was a decent price for doing a show, and why not? So a little bit of harmonics on it, it looks like, but we can test that out a little bit later.
That's group mode. That's group mode.
Right.
Yeah, like what Mike said earlier too. It transmits on all the frequencies.
That's right. Baofeng watts are better because it transmits everywhere.
I just wonder why it was
really
put
good. I thought it was neat to see the workmanship. First of all, like you were pointing out, all the caps were still looking good. I mean,
I was
obviously,
amazed.
quality components, yeah.
Very quality, very very quality. And look at it's still here in the year 2023. You got it working. So yeah, it was kind of neat to see the way you think through that too, as well, Steve. Kind of cool.
So I think I got a good deal for $25 at a Hamfest.
Yeah.
You posted the AB duplex switch function.
Yes,
Thank
he
you, Craig.
did. It's in the Discord with that AB switch, and it's a mod in from a magazine.
That's the switch on the front panel next to the VFO.
Yeah.
Mike's bummed there was no magic smoke.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. It was a possibility. It could have happened.
Well, I would have, if anything, short of a dead short, right? I would have expected a cap to possibly,
Yeah,
when
burst.
you put the electrics in it, because I mean it's a freaking probably 55 or 56-year-old radio, something like that.
And the only thing that I did that I should not have done was I put the cover back on before I turned it on. Never leave a Hamfest without something. That's sage advice.
LC, you are correct. You are correct.
And Larry's got it. The 22A was a crystal-controlled 22 channel. The 22S was the same radio with the early PLL synthesizer, 22 programs with the diode matrix. This radio has been modded to add more channels. Larry's absolutely correct.
Very cool.
Well, folks, you have reached the end of another fantastic episode of Ham Nuggets. We had a lot of fun playing with this radio, and we learned that it works and needs more time on the bench to figure out how to actually use it. But it transmitted, it received. I walked out of the room to get out of microphone speaker overload mode, and you guys heard me transmit there. So it was fantastic. And make sure that you are subscribed to FEP Labs, to this channel, Temporarily Offline, and to N8VOX, the Everyday Ham. Thank you, Anthony, for joining us.
This guy,
Thank
right?
you for the opportunity to hang out. It's fun.
Yeah, it was a last-minute thing. Anthony and I were talking about something else. I'm like, jump on the stream.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And
We ought
now
to get
I
Anthony.
clean up.
We need to get Anthony to voice over our commercials. They'd sound so much better. Although I got to admit, when Chuck was talking about the winder, I got a little excited. Just saying. I should take a deep breath. I was verklempt.
Yeah.
Talk amongst
Well,
yourselves.
73 y'all, I'm hitting the big button. We will see you in the next one.